everybody. Today we're talking with Della, who was once mistaken for Sally Fields, hates spinach, but only when her mom makes it. Her scariest moment was getting down off a roof. Her worst job was working at KFC. And today she's sharing with us about her experiences in Israel. So welcome, Della. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Shalom.
Yes, shalom.
Yes, so
Thank you for joining.
I'm Della Brown from out of town.
Oh, I love that.
I love it. I love it. So we're going to start our timer for 7 minutes as we do. So share with us what originally drew you to Israel? Why Israel?
Well, I'm an active Christian and from an active Christian family, and myself, age 13, I also read the Bible. But it wasn't that. It was my dad's cousin. Wasn't just that. My dad's cousin took her family to Israel, and when they announced that they were going, I just knew that I was going to go and visit them there. I didn't know how, and I didn't know why. At the time, my only income was as a carer, earning $125 a fortnight. There's no way I could even save to go. But God got me there on a miracle, and I just loved going there, loved being there. I was there for 6 weeks in 2006 and 2007. June 2006. Yeah.
Okay. So how many times have you been, Della?
I basically, I didn't know if I would ever get back there again, but you know what? I've been there 4 times since, and every time God has got me there on a miracle. I haven't had to pay a cent, but I've worked pretty hard to get there though. And while I was there, yeah.
Amazing. And so what are some of your favorite places to visit while you're there?
I love the Galilee area because I'm a farmer's daughter. Galilee is the food bowl of Israel. In fact, they export food all over the world. One time I was traveling through Finland and stayed with a lady, and she said, "Oh, we're eating potatoes from Israel today." So they export food all over the world. But Galilee, I loved staying at a town called Migdal, where Mary Magdalene came from. There's a guest house there run by believers up on a hill overlooking the Sea of Galilee, and it's just beautiful. It's called Beit Bracha, which means house of blessing, and it sure is. I'd love to go and volunteer there one day.
Oh, wow. So it sounds like you like to stay with the locals. Have you made deep connections and go back and visit some of the same people? Share with us some of the people stories.
Oh, yeah. Well, to be honest, every time I've gone, it's been for a different reason and for a different purpose, and so I've connected with different people. But I've stayed connected with many of the people that I've met there. If you look on Facebook, I've got like 2,000 friends. I'm pretty good at staying connected with people. But yeah, and also in Israel, like there's people there from all over the world, and so I've remained friends, and I've gone to visit some of these friends as I've traveled in other countries as well. Once you've been to Israel, there's something special. There's a special connection between people who've been to Israel, and so I just love staying with people who have been to Israel. Yes.
Beautiful. And we always ask, so I'm going to ask, we always ask about the food in every place that people go. So is there a special food dish or meal that you had, or that's something that you miss when you're not there?
Well, interestingly, in Israel, we ate food like for breakfast. We had salad for breakfast, which I don't know in the US if you eat salad for breakfast. We don't do that in Australia. We don't eat cheese for breakfast, but in Israel, they have cheese and salad for breakfast, and I love that. I love cheese. So having it for breakfast as well was a bonus for me. But I also love shakshka, which is like eggs poached in like a tomato-based sauce with onions and all sorts of yumminess there happening. So I really like that. I also love falafel balls. You know, you get those wraps and things with falafels in them. I really love those. And when you get them in Israel, they're freshly made and they're delicious. They're really delicious.
Wow. That sounds so good.
Yeah, I love those too.
Yeah. Tell us about something that surprises you when you visit.
All the food in Israel is just so fresh. It's GMO free, and it's organic often, and it's just the food is whatever you think food is in the US or in Australia or in the Western world. There's nothing on Israel because it's so jolly fresh there. It's just amazing. The food is so delicious. So delicious.
I think we've heard this before from someone else, that the food and the freshness. So yes, I think that there's a specialness about the place. Mm-hmm.
Yes, totally. There's a special. I believe, because I'm a Christian, I believe that God has chosen this little tiny fingernail of a piece of land in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of deserts and whatever, to be a special place for his special covenant people. They're not because they are mighty people or anything. They're just a group of people, and he's chosen something. There's something really special about the land. I've heard someone say that when you pray in Israel, you're on a local call. Young people won't know what I'm talking about, but it's so true. There's a special connection, I believe, with God when you're in Israel. Like, actually, I want to tell you a story. I think, Cindy, I heard on one of the other podcasts that you like boats. Well, I do. Highly recommend that you do go onto the Jesus boat on the Sea of Galilee. And go with, if you're a Christian, for people who are Christians, go with a group of Christians on this boat and have a time of worship. It's just absolutely incredible to have an encounter with Jesus on the Sea of Galilee through worship. It tells them what it was, and it was a very nice boat trip, but there was no spiritual connection there. So I recommend doing the Jesus boat on the Sea of Galilee. It'll take you on a different journey.
That sounds amazing. I do. I always like to get out on the water wherever I go. So thanks for that tip. So
yeah, that's a great tip. It sounds beautiful.
Well, we're going to ask. Oh, there's our timer. So I'm just going to ask one more question, which is if you, do you have a trip planned or any place you want to go next? Do you have anything on the books?
We do have what we call the Trans-Tasman bubble open at the moment. The Tasman Sea is between Australia and New Zealand. And I'm actually planning a trip to New Zealand in October.
That sounds great. In October, New Zealand. Fantastic.
Yes.
That sounds fabulous, Della. Thank you so much for sharing about Israel today. It sounds like a beautiful, special place to visit. If you want to travel with real stories through real people, join us again. Cindy and I have plenty of wonderful guests to share with you. Thank you so much, Della.
Thank you.